having a total education brings about a sound mind. When you have a degree, you have an education that moves just you forward. You may just be having it just for yourself or just for the society. However, if it is for the society and you are not using your education to better the society, to better someone's life, and you are soaked in an uncultured lifestyle, that education is just as useless can be. Every education should bring about a sound mind that helps the other person to move forward. When your education does not move you forward, helping you to take informed decision, that education might not just be right. You may have been through the 4 walls of education, but the uncultured attitude has made your mind to be dark and not enlightened. When it comes to relationship, it requires a sense of intelligence to lead a proper relationship to an expected end that will bring about good goals, good life, and a better future. If you don't have it, you need to question the kind of education you have for yourself. I have with me to discuss on this program today 2 people that are going to be serving justice to this particular topic which we're looking at today: dating an uneducated person. Welcome to Hot Bucket. Please just sit down.
I'm Johnny.
My name is Johnny, and I have with me on the program today
Joseph Kendi.
and
Homa Osinkoja.
welcome to Hot Button. Today we want to look at dating an uneducated person. Let me take it with you. What would or wouldn't make you, what would or wouldn't make you date an uneducated person?
Okay, I would not date an uneducated person because I feel like there will be a gap in communication with the person, in the sense that the mindset I have as an educated person, the person might not have that same mindset, and then we might not be able to see eye to eye on some certain situations. We will not be able to communicate as much as we would if we were both educated. So
Okay, so Joseph, what would or wouldn't make you date an uneducated person?
From what she said, I'd prefer to date a learned person, because education is just a process of learning. So some people might be learned, and then they didn't go through that actual education line. They might have been learned through other different means.
Like
so
experience and exposure?
experience and exposure, and then it's something that builds your skill over time. So I don't think I would say I won't date someone who is uneducated. I can be with someone who is not educated but who is learned. Yes,
Okay, so having said that, what do you describe a person you consider to be uneducated? Or what will make you qualify this person to be uneducated? Going by what you just said.
I will still go with my definition of learning.
Okay.
Because you can actually, when people say educated, education, this person is uneducated, they refer to people who went to school, the 4 rooms, the classroom.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, sometimes these people that even go to the classrooms are not even, they don't have the best of behaviors and the best of attitudes. So for me, I would say someone is uneducated if the person doesn't have that mindset and on how to relate socially, and then even with people, like what she said she can't date or she can't be with someone who isn't having the same mindset as she is. But I think you who had the privilege of going to school and then being in 4 walls of classroom, I think the first objective is to be able to communicate even with people, with every individual in the society, even those that were not,
regardless of their educational
regardless of their educational. So I believe I can be with someone who is not educated.
Yeah, I want to know who to you is uneducated. If I see this person and I want to say this person is uneducated, this is what I'm looking at.
The way they relate. The way they relate. I will know this one is not the way they relate. You can't even you can be with somebody and then they can't even you can't want to criticize or analyze the situation, and then you call them because you know they are going to say jargons. You understand?
Jargons. Okay. Let me hear from you, Homa. What do you describe a person you consider to be uneducated?
Okay, uneducated to me
Okay.
is not necessarily based on formal education.
Okay.
It's uneducated in the sense that you lack the common sense that a normal educated person will have. You cannot communicate properly. You cannot be involved in certain aspects of life because you don't know how to go about them due to your illiteracy. And then I feel like this illiteracy comes from ignorance and not necessarily from the lack of the formal education.
Wow.
Yeah,
So from what you're saying, the person may even
have gone to school, yes.
but
Still,
your sense of understanding of certain things,
yeah, your
how you
sense
handle
of
situation,
reasoning
your
and
sense
relation
of reasoning
is
is just what can make you classify, regardless of the degrees the person has. And you
Yes.
could point out the person and say, this person is uneducated
yes.
to you.
Yes.
Okay. What role does being educated, since you are on the side of the person has to be educated, what role does being educated play in a relationship?
Okay, being educated, I feel like being educated to me will play a great role in my own relationship because I have to be able to talk to you about I think it mostly revolves around communication because I cannot be talking about something and you are supposed to be like my best friend. We're supposed to see eye to eye on certain situations even though we don't necessarily agree. You have to understand me. So if I'm talking about things about life generally and you are just ignorant, you have not put in the effort to educate yourself about certain issues, then I cannot communicate with you. I cannot confide in you with some certain things because I feel like to some point you even be immature about some certain situations due to your ignorance.
But that was what he said. He said, you that you have been educated, you should be able to communicate with every kind of person in the society. So why is that a problem?
It is a problem because if you are uneducated,
Okay.
you won't be able to communicate with everybody in
But that's why you're
society.
there, to be able to communicate with him, because on a normal ground you can't communicate with
I
him.
shouldn't have to fill in for your own ignorance. You should be able to build yourself up for yourself, not for me. Not because you are you cannot be relying on me for something that you're supposed to do for yourself. I cannot do stuff for you. You have to do stuff for yourself. So obviously I won't be always there to bridge the gap. Well, okay, you're talking to somebody and you cannot communicate well with the person. I cannot be there to bridge the gap between you and the person.
And how will you know he's not communicating well?
You
have to just come down low to the person. Yeah, everybody cannot meet your standard.
That's your personal preference. My own preference, me, I cannot be with somebody.
You want someone who can meet your standard.
Yes.
And you are saying you have to bear with the person's inadequacy.
Yes.
Especially since you are educated.
You can't have everything in one person. You can't have everything in one person.
You can't have everything in one person, but then there are some certain things that people have. See, this education that I'm even talking about is common sense, and there's just some people that don't put in the effort.
Regardless of the education,
yes,
the common sense is not there.
Not there.
But Joseph, don't you think education has a role to play in a relationship?
I'm not saying education does not have a role to play. I'm just saying, for me, I don't think it's major for me, because when I'm going in that kind of line of education, I would prefer to go in the saying I would prefer someone who is learned, because you can have someone who has not been to school.
How can you be learned and not be educated? Indulge me.
Education, learning is a lifelong process. You understand? Of transferring your experiences and then what you've learned. You understand? Into your behavior and then your attitude. But then education is just one of the processes of doing that. Okay. So there could have been other means. You can see someone who didn't go to school but then is fluent in English. Who speaks different languages fluently. You understand? Okay. So if you are saying now somebody can be uneducated and then very, very smart in communication. You understand? But even if you don't get to know that person in depth, you might not know, oh, this person doesn't even have a degree. You understand? Okay. So I don't think education should be, or being educated should be a prerequisite.
But for her, she's not looking at the formal education. Yes. She's talking about you could have all the degrees. Common sense.
To me,
education. We're saying the same thing then.
Education and learning go hand in hand. So I think you're talking about
Education is the process of learning.
You are saying she just put it straight, like it's even above what we're talking about. Number one, you can be educated. That's a plus. But she is saying you have to be able to use your common sense. And that takes me to the question. You are looking out for common sense. Would you date someone who is not educated but has common sense?
Exactly.
Okay, I go back to what I said earlier.
Okay.
Education is broad for me.
Okay.
It goes beyond formal education.
I get it. You want common sense.
Yes.
Knowing how to apply things at the right time.
Yes.
How about a person who can apply this thing at the right time with good common sense but no certificate?
That won't go for me.
That would go.
It won't go for me because no, I feel like you still have to be
Unless
educated.
you have to have the formal education
to a certain degree.
And then get a plus of the common sense. You have to get like a higher.
I feel like it is all encompassing. Yes.
Because okay, now let's look at this question. If an uneducated partner, in a case that question comes to you, or an aspiring partner, someone who wants to be in a relationship with you, and the person is willing to be educated, is willing to have this common sense, is willing to accept anything that has to make him meet that standard, would you give that person a chance?
Even is willing to be educated.
He's willing to be educated.
For me, even for the person to have to say that out, that is willing to go to school or is willing to take up some act to make him better, that person is already learning, because that's even the first step of when you know that you don't know something, that's when your life
you're open to it.
When you're open to it, that's when your life starts getting better.
But isn't this person open to it just because you want the person?
No, I won't even make it a priority. I'll just make your life should be okay. You should be open to learning, but education in my own perspective, you might not have your masters, your PhD, even your first degree, but you are open to learning, and then you have things you are doing. You might be an entrepreneur, and then you didn't even go to the proper schooling system. You understand? So far you are open.
So a good roaster of yam or maize can roast.
I don't understand.
But why are you laughing? This person is so dexterous in roasting plantain.
Yes.
Do you understand? That is the limit to her own learnedness. She can roast plantain, it won't burn. Roast maize, it won't burn. That is how learned she could be. She didn't go through the 4 walls of education. But give her something to roast, she roasts it very well. Would you marry such a person?
Yes, I can.
Hey.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, of course.
You know why I said I can? Because most times when we go into a relationship, most of us are looking for, like what she said she can date someone who doesn't have the proper certificate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, most times we go into a relationship trying to see what we can get from the person. Not how can I make this person like. Obviously, if I'm okay, I can. And the person says he wants to go to school, even if the person was roasting, I like this person, I love you, I can even volunteer to even be the one to send you to.
But is that what your children are going to learn? Because eventually, that is the person they are going to spend most of their time with.
Their
mother who roasts.
They might not even meet that lifestyle of she roasting yam by the time they are.
Because you would have advanced.
Yeah, I would have. We are meant to be there to raise others up. It's not just to be looking. If you are looking,
can
yeah, you can.
Okay, I feel like you have to be full on your own. You have to be whole on your own before you.
I'll be.
Yes. Before you go, before you get into a relationship with somebody else, so that you don't have to make the person feeling for you. Do you get? You don't have. The person does not have to fill up for your inadequacies. You are you on your own. You have made your efforts to grow yourself without having to depend on the person. Because if you're
privilege, I had a privilege.
If you are not educated on your own, and then you go into a relationship with somebody that is educated, the person will feel like you are depending on them a lot more than you should have if you have been educated. So that's what I feel.
However, Homa, if a partner is smart, based on where he's coming from, he used the word learned. If a partner is smart, can speak and write well, but hasn't been to school, why would you need the person to be educated in order to date the person?
Oh, okay.
You're smart.
Yes.
You can read, you can write.
I feel like there are other things that, like non-academic things that you can get from school, like being in the four walls of a school, university, whatever, is way more than the academic aspect. I feel like you learn other parts
Other
of
things.
life, like social interaction, relationships, how to build communication with people, relationships with people outside of academics. So I don't feel like you go to school only to get your certificates, because I'm in school now, but I honestly do not really want to be here. But then while I'm here, I've learned a lot of things that are not necessarily academic, that can help me with life outside school. So I feel like the person has to be in school, because there are certain things that the person will not be able to relate to in the outside world,
Okay.
that the person can learn if
While
the
in
person
school.
has gone to school.
So it's a no for you.
Yes.
If you're not educated, I cannot date you.
Yes.
What about the Christian part of us? There are some people who are gifted with evangelism. You could have someone who is a good preacher. And you are a Christian, you want such a decent person. So there is still no chance. There has to be that education.
Yes, there has to be.
And
Yeah.
Joseph, okay,
Can I say
please
okay.
say something.
Okay, there's the relationship, yeah, and then
Okay.
there's the part before the relationship.
Okay.
So if during the part before the relationship, that's like where we're like becoming friends and stuff. For me, I have to be best friends with somebody before I can get into a relationship with the person.
Okay.
So obviously during that time, you can, like, I don't know, go to school, start school, something. I feel like you need, even though not even for like the skills that you're going to get from school, having the certificates, there are opportunities in life where you might need the certificates, because people want to see results. People want to see what you have done with your life. People are not going to say, okay, he's talented. Even though you are talented, you still need like some certain form of certification to get some opportunities in life. So if that certificate is necessary.
So it is very, very important that someone has that formal education
Yes.
before getting into the relationship with. You don't seem to be to be at par with that.
I feel she's concerned about the certificate for what people are going to say. She dating and because me, I don't actually care. So it's just the attitude, the behavior, and then the will to learn. Yes, you can. When we are in a relationship now, you can tell me, oh, you want to go to school. Yeah, I'm willing to send you to school. But I don't make that. That means, I guess that would be one of the questions you ask when you first meet a guy. Are you in university or something?
Obviously,
or do you have papers?
I won't ask it like that. But there's things you will know when you, like, as you go on in the relationship. Obviously, you will know if
So
this person went to school
imagine
or
you see
not.
this guy that you like, oh, very handsome, and then he has all the physical qualities you're looking for in a guy, and then you get to know, oh, he didn't even have the privilege to go to school.
It has not happened yet now, but like if
it
speaking
happens,
from now,
yeah,
that it has not yet happened,
yeah.
I would not, because
No matter how attracted you are to this person.
there's a way I am. If you don't check all my boxes, I'm sorry, but no.
So the boxes all have to be checked, and education is top notch
Yes.
on that particular box.
Yes.
So Joseph, why are you rooting? You don't worry about your children, because at the end of the day, when you get into the relationship with the person, there are some people who are not willing. They are just okay with where they are. And let me break something down to you. Today, there is no way I can talk about my writing skills without mentioning my mom. And this woman is not educated.
Exactly.
And she raised every one of us. We're all educated.
I was about
That's
to give that
someone who wasn't
example.
educated. And she did so well. So why would you want to say because I think my dad would have made a wrong choice if she didn't marry my mother.
Oh, I don't know. That's his personal.
So for you, there is no exception.
As of right now, there's no exception.
think
Maybe I've not met
the more-
somebody that's like that would change my mind. But right now, no.
So Joseph, you are willing to go all the way.
All the way.
Regardless of, how uneducated the person
Yes,
is.
regardless.
Or are you looking at a specific level of education at least?
I wouldn't even want to know your level of education. That would be, you can be educated, and then I will still not end up dating you. Your attitude, your behavior, your approach to things.
Okay.
Some people went to school, but they don't know how to analyze situations. They don't know how to do things. So even if you went to the 4 walls of the classroom, you have
Okay.
even the degree up to the third one. You understand? I might not end up being with you,
Okay.
but I can be with somebody who hasn't been to school, but yet as that, you see future in this person,
Okay.
in people, even if they have not attained that level of education. So I can be with somebody who went to school. You understand? But on the contrary, I can be with somebody who has not been to school before, because of the person's attitude, the person's character. You will know that yes, this kind of person I want to build my family with. This kind of person I want to be with forever. You understand? I can't just be with because you have the papers. Nobody's looking at it.
I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I fully understand. I just don't agree with it. Yes.
Personal preference.
Yes.
Now, if you were to represent the female category right now, we want to draw up a statistics. Would you say 100% of ladies will toe this line you're towing? Or what percentage would you rate?
I won't say 100%, but I would say like a large percentage of women. Because even when a woman goes out with a man and then she's flaunting him, obviously she knows that he can communicate with people. Like, she knows that he has like the intellectual capacity to handle like going out for shows or like going for business meetings and the rest of it. So like, she knows. So obviously, yes, a large amount of women will agree with this, because nobody wants a man that cannot relate with the real world.
That cannot stand out with them. So,
Yes.
in a nutshell.
Are you trying to say people that didn't go to school can't relate with the real world?
I'm not saying that. I said earlier that education for me is all encompassing. It includes gaining formal education. It includes learning a skill. It includes mindset. It's everything for me. So
yours is even beyond this being educated we are looking at. You have to look at how the level of the person's intelligence.
yes.
To know if you can actually be with this kind of person. Now, Joseph, is it a man thing? Like, the guys don't really care. As long as a woman is beautiful, as long as a woman is what they see physically, like, okay, I'm attracted to this one. It doesn't matter what education is. Or would you say more men will toe this path you're towing, or is it fewer men will toe this path you're towing?
I wouldn't say more, I wouldn't say fewer, but I would say men who are willing to make ends meet for themselves and who are trying to better their future will go this route, because I'm trying to build my future for a woman to just come in and not be the one adding to it in terms of financially. She's coming there to meet a fortune already built.
But women, it's not like they're all about this fortune. These days, everybody wants to be independent. They don't even just want to come depend on your money. Everybody wants to bring something to the table.
From what she said, I think she wants a sport trophy. She wants a man that she will take outside and then is what it. You hear people say, oh, they don't even, it doesn't fit her, they don't match. It's not because of, it's just the social the way social life has placed all these kind of things.
Okay.
I can't work with a woman who sells bully. Calling her my wife. Why? Because
like I gave that analogy,
I'm a doctor. She sells.
No. Like, I can have these people as like my friends, but
as your partner.
no,
Why?
I cannot, because for my mental health, I've been in situations.
And you say that so passionately.
Yes, I've been in situations where, I don't know, maybe it was because, I don't know, it was in secondary school where I was the smarter part of the people, and then I happened to like somebody that was in the other part of like the class.
The divide, yeah.
Yes. So there was no way it was going to work, because how would I be up and you be here? Like, it does not.
No balance.
I tried.
She wants a scale that is balanced.
I tried. It does not. Sometimes it just does not work.
That means you're judging on your past experiences.
Yeah. Yes. No. It's based on my personal preference and past experiences. I cannot do it. I cannot. It exhausts me. I can't.
Well, it's a whole lot to deal with someone who cannot be at par with your level of understanding. It most times brings rancor. But we must say, in life, everybody does not have equal opportunity or platform to excel like the others. There are people that are up there, there are people that are down there. But we still have to create this, level playing ground for everybody. On a normal day, majority of people wouldn't want to go with someone who is not educated, especially the way the world has gone these days. Everybody wants to see who brings something to the table. If not now, for later, maybe for the children. I want to have a wife that when I step out of the house, she will, at least feel the space of teaching the children good morals and education on my behalf. A woman wants to have a husband that when she steps out, the husband is at home feeling good space. It's not a bad thing. However, there can be room, and like you rightly said, based on preference. If that is what your preference is, to be with someone who is not completely educated, is there. But there are still people that are educated that still behave unintelligently.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and there are people who have never been to the four walls of education that are still having sound minds better than the people. Remember, this day we can stay and talk about Socrates, talk about the different scholars of the past. What they knew then that we're still studying today, if you compare it to now, they don't even know much. Bring them back now, they can't even touch the computer. It would seem like they were uneducated. The biggest proverbs and wisdom lines that we hear today came from our forefathers who didn't go through the four walls of education. Yet, we are still guided by those wisdom. However, education is subject to time, space, and exposure. If you allow yourself to learn from what you see and task yourself enough to be intelligent in analyzing situations, you will get to learn more. It doesn't have to be the four walls of education, but you can open your mind to sound learning and insights that will better your mind. When your mind is better and you can function with everybody in the society right, you are educated by your own right. However, this is where we draw the curtain. I want to say thank you to you guys for being on the program today. Join us again same time for another fresh episode. God bless you.